Hello students, good morning. I am Prem Gupta, your English teacher. Dear students, in the previous classes we were discussing the chapter 13 of English. The name of the book is Open Skies and the name of the chapter is The Invisible Man. Dear students, in this chapter we have read page number 19, 95 and 96. Dear students, you all know that this is the story of a man who is invisible and people do not know about him, what he does and how he lives his life. Dear students, there is a conversation between Mrs. Hall and that invisible man. Mrs. Hall and that invisible man. That invisible man used to live in the lodge of Mrs. Hall, but he was not paying the bill. And when Mrs. Hall asked for the bill, he also annoyed. He also got anger. And there is a conversation that we have read in the previous classes. It is given at the page number 96 and 95. Dear students, those who did not attend the previous class can watch the previous video at my YouTube channel. Dear students, today we will discuss the page number 97. You can see, and one paragraph, just we can see last paragraph of the page number 96. You just see, he stopped forward. Have you got that line? I hope you all have got the line. It is given at the page number 96. That is the last paragraph. You can see, he stepped forward and gave something to her. Dear students, there was a conversation just before these lines. You have read that there is a conversation between that man, invisible man, and the woman, the lady, Mrs. Hall. And just see here, he stayed forward. When there was a shouting, when he was very angry, when the man was very angry, at that time he stepped forward and gave something to Mrs. Hall. What he has given? Just see here, he stepped forward and gave something to her. And he stepped forward and gave something to Mrs. Hall. And just see, when she saw what it was, she screamed loudly. And when she saw that what it was, what he has given to her, she screamed loudly. Scream means to cry loudly, to shout loudly. You see, when she saw what it was, she screamed loudly and dropped it. And she also dropped that thing, what he has given, in the hand of Mrs. Hall. You see here? When she saw what it was, she screamed loudly and dropped it. And she also dropped that thing which is given by the person, man. Dropped it and turn the page, students, and staggered back. Staggered back means to go back, यानी लड़खड़ा के पीछे चले जाना. जैसे staggered back. It was the stranger's nose. What it was? It was the stranger's nose. That is artificial nose. It means that man has no body. It is artificial things only, artificial body only. Okay, so just see, students, it was the stranger's nose, the false nose, and that was the false nose. That was not reality. That was not real nose. That was false nose. Pink and shining, and it was pink in color, and it was also shining. Rolled out of her hands and onto the floor. And you see, rolled out of her hands and onto the floors. And when she saw that it was the false nose, she screamed loudly and she also dropped that things on the floor. And she is now staggered back. And just see, come to the next line, next paragraph. Then the stranger took off the dark glasses. Now the strangers took off the dark glasses. The students, in the beginning of the story, we have seen what he had worn. He has worn the turban, dark glasses and long coat. So here just see, then the man took off his dark glasses. Now he took off. the dark glasses. अपने चश्मा भी उतारा. He took off his hat. Now he also took off the hats. और अपना टोपी भी उतार दिया. You see, he took off the hats, his mustache and his bandage. Now he also took off the mustache. Mustache means मूछे. And his bandage. And he also took off the bandage which he covered on the face of him. You see, he took off. Now one by one he is just opening the secret. Just see, the stranger took off the dark glasses. In the beginning he took off the false nose, and then after dark glasses, then after hat, then after mustache, then after bandage. Everyone in the bar gasped. Gasped means surprised. Everyone, those who were standing there in the bar, in the laws, they were gasped. Gasped means surprised. They were wondered. You see, everyone in the bar gasped. Everyone, those who were present there, they surprised what it was, what he is doing. Oh my God, said someone. Someone said, oh my God. That is the feeling of surprise. You see, it was worse than anything one has expected. And it was worse than anything has expected. You see, Mrs. Hall stood with her mouth open like this. Ah, it means she also shocked. What is going there? What is happening there? And what is reality and what is false? So just see. Just see, students, it was worse than anything one had expected. Just see, it was worse than anything anyone had expected. It means it was beyond the expectation. No one has thought that this kind of person he is. So just see here, it was worse than anything anyone had expected. Mrs. Hall stood with her mouth open. Now she was standing there. She couldn't do anything. She was so shocked. She was so surprised what was happening there. So just see. Mrs. Hall stood with her mouth open. Everyone began to move. Now everyone began to move from that place, shouting and running for the door. And they were shouting and they were also running for the door. It means everyone was now, they were also fearing with that man. You see, everyone began to move, shouting and running for the door. They were prepared for scars and injuries. And they were also prepared for scars. Scars means very hardly. And injuries, but nothing. But they did nothing. And very hardly and and injuries. Injuries means injured. So just see, they were prepared for scars and injuries, but nothing. They were prepared for that, but there was nothing. There happened nothing. Let's see, the man who stood there was nothing, and the man who was stood there was nothing. You see what happened there now? The man who stood there was nothing, no visible thing at all. Now, no visible thing at all. One by one, he put off all the things which he wore. Okay, one by one. In the beginning, he opened, put off, take off. Okay, put off. Just see, it is written here. Took off the nose, then after hat, then after mustache, then after bandage, then after the cloths. And now, one by one, he removed all the things. Now there is no visible man. There is only and only what? No visible thing at all. It means there were no person at all. There is no shape of body. You see, The man who stood there was nothing, no visible thing at all. And now there is nothing that is visible. He disappeared. Therefore, the title of this chapter is Invisible Man. That man was invisible. He has no body. Okay? So just see. They were prepared for his, where was I? No visible thing at all. Just see. In a short while, parlor was empty. And very few minutes, in a very few minutes, the parlor was empty. And you see, the parlor was empty. No one was there. The news spread quickly to the other town people. And that news, the news of this invisible man spread to the town, all over the town. And soon a crowd of perhaps 40 people collected in the front of Mrs. Hall's. And very soon, about approximately 40 people gathered there in front of the lodge of Mrs. Hall. In front of Mrs. Hall's lodge. When the news spread through the town, there are approximately 40 people gathered in front of the house of Mrs. Hall. So just see here, a crowd of perhaps 40 people collected in front of Mrs. Hall's lodge. And just see, everyone seemed eager to talk at once. And everyone seemed eager to talk at once. Everyone wanted to ask, who was she? So just see, everyone seemed eager to talk at once. And the result was plain nonsense. But the result was plain nonsense. What she can do? There was no body. There were no man. There were no physical body. There were only invisible things. No one can capture him. So just see. No head. Now just see. The result was plain nonsense. That was nonsense only. And no head. I tell you, said someone. Someone said that no head. Did he hurt anyone? Another said another. And there are so many people who gathered there to ask the various kind of question related to that man, related to the invisible man. Now, someone is asked, another person is asked, what he asked? Did he hurt anyone? Is asking, the another person is asking, did he hurt anyone? A bogey man. Bogey means Hawa. That is nonsense man. Okay. A bogey man, said a young boy. A young boy said that it was a bogey man. Okay. Nonsense, a magic trick, replied someone else. And someone said that it was a kind of magic trick. The man who was living in the lodge of Mrs. Hall, he was magical man. He was magician. So just see. Replied someone else. Nonsense, a magic trick, replied someone. Someone replied that he was a magician. That was a magic trick played by him. Okay, students. I hope that you all have understood these lines. Now just see in the middle of this. And now just see in the middle of this, who arrived? Arrived Mr. Bobby Jaffer. And now a person, Bobby Jaffer, arrived. Who was he? He was a constable. He was a police. Let's see. In the middle of this arrived Mr. Bobby Jaffer. Who was Bobby Jaffer? He was a constable. He had come armed with the warrant. He had also come with the arm and warrant. With a warrant. He came there with a warrant and armed. So just see. Head or no head? Said Jaffer. Jaffer said that. Head or no head? He was asking. He was also surprised to listen what was happening there. Head or no head? Said Jaffer. I have got to arrest him. Arrest him, I will. And he was saying that he had come there to arrest him, and he was also saying that he will arrest him sure. So just see here, students. Okay students, come to the next. Just see. Where was I? Yes. He had come armed with the warrant. Head or no head, said Jafar, I have got to arrest him. Arrest him I will. Now the constable, Mr. Bobby Jafar, was saying that he will arrest that person. But see, what will happen? Jafar marched up the step, and now he marched up the room. Okay, marched up the steps straight to the door. He also stepped to the door and of the parlor and flung it open. And he also visited to the room of that man, that invisible man. And just see, the headless figure sat facing him. And there was a headless figure. The headless figure sat facing him. And in front of him, there was a headless figure. It means the upper portion of that man, because he removed all the things. He removed the hat, he removed the dark glasses, he removed the bandage of his face. So there is only the lower portion of his body that was sitting on the chair. Just here. The headless figure sat facing him with the piece of bread in one gloves, and in one gloves there is a piece of bread and cheese in the other, and in another hand there was a cheese. Okay, that was a table item. Okay, just here, with a piece of bread and in one glove's hand, cheese in the others, and in one hand there was a bread and in another hand there was cheese. So just see students, what's all this? Said his voice from above his collar. And from above his collars, it means there was only the body up to this. Okay, the upper portion of that man was disappeared. So just see, he was saying the voice said the voice from above his collar. From above his collar, this is the collar, and from above this body, it means from the upper portion, from the mouth side, although there were no mouths, that is visible, that is not visible, but the sound is coming. But he can listen the sounds, he can hear the sound. So just see this. What's all this? Said his voice from above his collars. And it means the man was sitting in the room and he asked, what's all this? You are funny fellow, said Jafar. Jafar said that you are funny fellow, you are a strange person. But head or no head? What? Head or no head? You have head or no? I have got to arrest you. Duty is duty. And Jafar is saying that he had come there to arrest that man. Why? Because it is his duty. It is his duty to arrest him. So he will arrest him. Okay, students? So just see, students, come to the next paragraph. Keep off, shouted the figure. And that figure who was sitting there, headless figure, you can say. And what he said? The headless figure shouted, keep off. Keep off means dur rana. Keep off. He moved back a few steps. And now he also moved back few steps. I'll surrender. He is saying that I'll surrender. It's no good. He continued in choking voice. And he is saying, the figure, that man, the invisible man was saying that this is not good. It's no good. He continued in choking voice. He was just saying all these words. He was saying that what are you doing? That is not good. Okay, don't touch him. He was saying, the invisible man was saying to Jafar, the police constable. So just see, I'll surrender. It's no good. He continued in choking voice. He is speaking continuously in choking voice. It means the voice is not clear. Okay, students, come to the last paragraph given at the page number 97. Just see. It was the strongest thing in the world to hear that voice coming out as from the empty space. And he was also saying, the policeman, the constable is also saying, it was really a strange thing. It was really a strange thing that the voice is coming from out of the our voice is coming without a head. You see here, voice coming out as from the empty space. He was surprised that the voice is coming from the empty space, because there were he was headless, so there is voice also coming, because it was not visible, the head is not visible. Okay, so just see here, it is written here, it was the strangest thing in the world to hear that voice coming out as if from empty space, but Jafar simply got up. And brought out the pair of handcuffs. And he also brought out a pair of handcuffs. Handcuff means हथकड़ी. Jafar ने क्या किया? हथकड़ी लाया उसे पकड़ने के लिए. Pair of handcuffs. Suddenly he said, and he suddenly said, what he said? I say, I can't use these when I can't see his hands. And he was saying that he can't use that handcuff, because he also removed the gloves. So there is no hand, there is no palm. So just see, I can't use these when I can't see his hands. So he was saying, Jafar is also saying that he can't use that handcuffs, because he is unable to see the hands of that person, because he had also removed the gloves. Okay students, so this is all about the story, and there are one more page is given that we will discuss in the next class. Okay students, whatever you have written, the word meaning, a question answer of this chapter, you will learn it. Okay, this is your homework. That's all for today. Thank you.